whatever reason, then feel free to grab one. But a chair for sure. I think Jill is the only one that maybe didn't hear that. All right, so as we come to a comfortable seat, we're sitting in a chair or on a stool or maybe on a couch, but what I want you to think about is not leaning back, that you're creating a tall spine here. And this, as a general practice, is something that you can use anytime. You can use a chair to start your practice anytime you want to. But as you notice the connection that you have with what you're sitting on, just take a moment to move your pelvis, a little tilt forward and back, start to feel that connection of sitting bones, as we usually do, but a little rock side to side here as well. So you might get light on one side and then light on the other side, and then come back into a centered place. Hands come to rest on your legs, lengthen your sides. If it's comfortable for you, you can close your eyes. And then start to take a couple of deep breaths. And as you take your deep breaths, begin to let the exhales be just a little bit longer than the inhales. Even add a little effort to your exhales. You might feel a little engagement through the low belly to press your breath out just a little further. And begin to visualize your breath moving. Notice your inhales moving from your crown to your tail. Your exhales move from your tail to your crown. And even more so, now imagine from crown to tail on the inhale, moving down the front of you. And from tail to crown, moving up the back of you as you exhale. It's a little counter to maybe how you usually visualize your breath. And see if you can find that switch. Sometimes this enables us to lengthen the exhale just a little bit further. Inhale from crown to tail. Exhale from tail to crown. Two mantras we'll focus on for a few breaths. I want you to focus on a grounding mantra of I'm always safe at the center of my being. Inhaling from crown to tail, I'm always safe. Exhaling from tail to crown at the center of my being. I'm always safe at the center of my being. And now switching this mantra to a little bit more flowing, a little bit more open to change. I flow with the rhythm of life. Open to the goodness around me. Inhaling, I flow with the rhythm of life. Open to the goodness around me. Inhaling, I flow with the rhythm of life. Exhaling, open to the goodness around me. I flow with the rhythm of life. Open to the goodness around me. for one more breath. Then connect hands together at heart center. And as you press your palms, gently lift up higher through your heart space. Soft but full inhale. Soft but full exhale. And bow towards your heart. Then softly open your eyes and rest your hands down on your legs. And your feet, notice where they're placed. Set ankles directly underneath your knees if you can, or close to it, so you have a little rooted place for your feet. Gentle press into your knees, and then begin to move through a couple rounds of cat and cow here, allowing for your inhales and exhales to help you to find that movement, that flow. Inhale to tilt your belly forward. Exhale to round back through your spine. Inhale, heart forward, shoulder blades on your back. Exhale, round back, expand into your upper back. Take a couple more deep breaths right here. Then as you come back up to a nice tall spine, press down wherever it's comfortable onto your legs and lift up through your sides. As you exhale, you're taking right hand across to your left knee or thigh, left fingertips behind you. You might hold on to the back of your chair if you're sitting on a chair, or just press fingertips down. Lift your ribs up high. Exhale, draw your low ribs in to help you twist. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, twist. Inhale, come back into center. And exhale, reaching across with your left hand to your right knee or thigh. Right fingertips behind you, or again, hold on to your chair. It's always a nice thing to help you resist a little bit as you lengthen. Exhale, low ribs in to help you twist. Inhale, long, and exhale, twist. A couple more deep breaths. Full inhale, long, deep exhale. Inhale, come back into center. Take a full breath, sitting tall. Then inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Clasp hands, turn your palms up and press up. And from here, a little side to side movement through your sides, letting your side bodies get a little bit longer. Think of rooting down through both sitting bones, even as you move. Now, as you release your arms, fold over your legs, and you might use your hands at your knees here to fold, or you might fold all the way. So maybe you can even touch your toes. Wherever that is, you're always welcome here to maybe set hands on blocks. But wherever that is, make a little contact with your hands and either your feet, your legs, maybe press into the floor. I have my fingers underneath my toes here so that my toes can press into my hands. Let your head tuck, let your chin tuck, back of neck is long, and take a couple big breaths. Feel free to add a little bit of movement if you'd like to, allowing for movement of sides, of your sitting bones, your hips. Then inhale, lengthen part way, hands up to your knees, and exhale, fold again. And we'll take 3 more this way. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Full deep inhale. Long, full exhale. One more big breath. Then inhale, hands up to your legs and rise all the way back up. And now we're going to cross right ankle over our left knee. So we have a figure 4 here, which we often do when we are on our backs, or sometimes we do this as a balancing pose. But from this place, give your foot a little flex, drawing toes back towards your knee. Take your right hand, thumb into your hip crease, and anchor your hip down as you lengthen your sides. And from there, if you would like to, you can fold towards your leg. If that's a little bit much on the hips or the glutes or whatever you're feeling, then you're welcome to sit up instead. Take a couple big breaths. And then inhale, rise back up. And then set right foot on the ground and cross left ankle over your right knee and give your foot a flex. And again, left thumb into your hip crease, anchor your hip down, rooting it down, lift up through your sides. As you exhale, if you would like, you can fold towards your leg. Full big breath. Inhale all the way back upright. Set your left foot down. And now we're going to take a little wider stance with our legs. And so you might have to shift where you're sitting. I like to come to the edge of what I'm sitting on. Take right knee open to the right side, left leg open to the left. And what you're going to do is, if it feels good, extend your left leg out long and straight. So it gives a little bit more work through hamstring and hamstring connections. However, you can always keep a little bend to your knee here if that feels better to you. And now, right elbow to your knee, left hand to your hip as you turn your belly and your heart open to the left. Shoulder blades on your back. Take a deep breath. If you'd like, you can stretch your top arm up and over your ear. Push down with your right elbow and let your ribs expand. And then gently rise back up and we'll switch sides. So bend your left knee still out at that angle. Right leg extends out at the angle as well. And then left elbow to your knee, right hand to your hip. And from there, push down. Turn your belly and your heart more open to the right. And then maybe stretch up. Big, full, deep breath as you push down. Expand your rib cage. Think of lifting them up. And then inhale, rise all the way back up. And we're going to switch sides again. So bend your right knee, extend your left leg. And this time we're going to do a little more heart opening and kind of like a reverse warrior as well. So hands behind you to clasp. If that's comfortable, you can always take fists to your low back instead. But big expansion and opening through the heart space. And then as you draw elbows toward each other and press palms, also give your low ribs just a little engagement. It doesn't have to be intense. Just a little drawing in. Take a full big breath. And now releasing your hands, you're taking your left hand to your thigh, or maybe you reach down below your knee. That's a little far for me, but you might reach below your knee. The only thing I don't want you to do is pushing against your knee joint. So find where that is. Press into thigh or shin, wherever you would like to, and stretch your right arm up and over. So it's like a reverse warrior here. Take a big, deep breath. Long through your sides. Put both shoulder blades on your back. Inhale all the way back up to center, and then switch sides. Left knee bends, right leg extends. And then first, again, clasp, switch the clasp. We always clasp the same way, so take the uncomfortable clasp for yourself. And then lift up and open through your shoulders, shoulder blades engage. Press palms, elbows hug back toward each other. And then again, just notice the low ribs and give a little tone so you're not completely splaying forward. Full big breath. And then releasing hand, you're taking right hand to your thigh, maybe below your knee, maybe to your hip. Press down, lots of lift through your sides. And then reach up with your left arm and stretch back to the right. Full deep inhale and exhale. Notice that expansion and opening through the ribs. Then inhale, rising back up, and then bend both knees. And you still have that wide stance here. So this is kind of like our goddess pose. We haven't done goddess pose in a long time, but it just, I was just reminded of it the other day, and I was like, oh, I need to add that into my practice again. So hands come to your knees, and think of stacking knees directly over ankles, toes and knees out at the same direction. As you push down, lift up tall. And from this place, do a little tilt of your pelvis. You're trying to move your sitting bones back, and then engage your low belly. And then a little bit of twisting. As you exhale, draw your right shoulder forward, your left shoulder back. Inhale, come back into center, and exhale, left shoulder forward. And we're gonna move with our breath a few times here. And as we move with our breath, what I want you to notice is if your shoulder is really popping over to the other side, then engage shoulder blade onto your back and keep that as you twist. Keep your shoulder blades engaged. Keep a little engagement through the low belly. One more on each side. Inhale back into center now, and exhale. We're gonna fold over our legs. And I don't know if you noticed, but I just had to come up onto my toes to do this. It just felt more comfortable to me. But you can bring something underneath your hands. You can keep your feet pressing down. You can shift how your hips are here to fold, or you can stay up a little higher. That's always an option. So find what helps you to fold. And you might even set elbows down on something. You might connect your head with something. Lots of different options, but notice what feels the best in your body. We have 3 more deep breaths right here. Then gently inhale and make your way back upright. And you might use your hands on your legs to support that. And then walk your feet in. And then we're going to take that fold one more time with our legs more narrow. So inhale and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. Letting your belly maybe come to press against your legs. Or you can always be a little bit more modified here with elbows onto your thighs, really tuning into how your low back feels, what feels the best for you. Take 2 more full big breaths. Then gently inhale and rise all the way back up. And now we're going to use our chair. We're going to use the seat of it so you can either move it to someplace or just move yourself to where you need to be able to use the seat of your chair as a prop. It's as if we're using blocks, but even higher. So standing in front of the seat of your chair, take your hands to your seat. Knees are bent and start to walk your feet back to a modified down dog place here. So instead of walking your feet really far back, think of allowing shins to be stacked straight up and down. You still get to have a little bend to your knees. Let's send your sitting bones up. Push your hands down and think of elevating a little bit through your shoulders, so you're not just sinking. You even think of that external arm bone rotation where your elbow pits are trying to turn toward the ceiling a little bit. Big, full, deep breath. If it feels good, you can add a little sway to your hips here. And then gently walk your feet back in and rise all the way back up. So now we're going to take that figure 4 pose so that we can get a little bit more into that little hip flexor underneath our glutes. So crossing right ankle over your left knee, and then bend into your knees and take your hands, or bend into your knee and take your hands down to your chair. And from this place, keeping your knee bent, send your sitting bones back. You might walk your hands a little further back on the chair here. You might stay a little more upright. But with your right foot flexed, start to lift your right hip up. Right knee lifts. You might lean your torso a little bit over to the left to help this, but reach through your sitting bone to the right side and back. You're trying to make your sitting bone go broad. And then gently back into center here and push both hips back evenly. And as you push them back evenly, think of taking sitting bones apart from each other. And then gently walk your way back up. You can set your foot down first if you want to, and then rise up, or you can rise up and set your foot down, either way. Now find your balance onto your right foot. Left ankle crosses over your right knee. Bring your hands back down to your chair and start to push your sitting bones back. And as you push your sitting bones back, your knee is bent. Flex your left foot and start to lift your left hip, lift your left knee. Start a little lean with your torso over to the right side to help that reach happen. Left sitting bone to the left and back. Full big deep breath. And now back into center with your torso and your hips and push both sitting bones back evenly. Think of drawing them apart from each other. Take a full big breath. And then gently start to rise back up. Again, you can put your foot down first if you want to, or come all the way up and put your foot down. So now we're going to use our chair one more time for a little bit of shoulder opening. So we're going to come down onto our knees, and if you want to, you can add a blanket underneath your knees. Move blocks aside so you can see. And then as you come down onto your knees, you're going to put your elbows up onto your chair. And from that place, hands come together into prayer position or Anjali Mudra, and then start to lean your hips back. And as you lean your hips back, your head might come to rest right down on the chair, or if you have a little space so your head can lower a little bit further, then that might feel good, but take a couple big breaths. Push your sitting bones back. Press your elbows in gently. And now we're going to reach out with our hands. And if you have an edge to reach your fingertips over, you can always do that. or you can just reach your hands out, whichever feels the best. If you can reach around with your fingers, then you might be able to pull a little bit, but reach back with your sitting bones. Just notice the little bit of difference here when you shift the position of your arms. And now gently push yourself up to your knees, and then you can come all the way to stand. We're going to move the chair aside. It is an option for you to put your legs up the chair for Shavasana, so if you want to keep it close for that, you can, or you can just move it entirely away. Either one. And now, go ahead and come to the front of your mat. And with your feet inner hip distance apart and parallel, lift and spread your toes and then root them down. Feel that connection that you have with the ground. Lift your shoulders up and back, turn your palms forward. Lengthen through the back of your neck. Let your eyes close and take a deep breath. In your mountain pose, just notice whatever's present for you in your body right now. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, bent knees to fold over your legs. Considerably bent here, and you can, of course, bring your elbows up to your thighs instead, but let your head hang and do a little bit of nodding and shaking. A little ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. And then you're planting hands and stepping back onto a hands and knees place. And as you come to your hands and knees again, you can always have your knees up on a blanket if you would like, but move through a couple rounds of cat and cow and check in with what's there. And as you move with your breath, finding that fluidity of movement, see if you can make your breath and your movement match in length. One more full breath. Then as you come back to a neutral place for your spine, shift your hips back towards your heels. Then inhale, circle your hips around to the left side, all the way toward your arms, and exhale back on the right. Take this a couple more times in this direction, using your inhales and exhales to help you find the movement. Then inhale to the right side and exhale back on the left, switching directions. And as you take this again, just notice for yourself what's there in your body. What is it that's going on in your mind? Notice your thoughts. And then come back into center, big toes together, knees wide, and settle hips back toward your heels into a child's pose. And as you take this child's pose, if it would feel better to you to have a prop underneath your torso, then you're welcome to. Coming into a restorative version of your child's pose. So shift and move and make it as comfortable as possible. If you have your head turned one way, feel free to turn it the other way for your next few breaths. And now gently rise up to your hands and knees, and you're going to move your bolster so that you have space for your shoulders and your head off the end of it, and come to rest entirely on your bolster. And now we're going to take a little bit of a shoulder stretch. So right arm crosses to the left side, left arm crosses in front of it. So your elbows are crossing each other, or as far as your body needs to go. So sometimes this is just a really tight thing for shoulders, so you might need to come out a little ways. So find what that is for you, and then tuck your chin in. Take some big breaths and even utilize this pose to help expand into your low back. Your inhales expand your belly into your bolster. Your exhales help you to release just a little bit more. Notice that expanding breath from your belly all the way up into your chest, from your low back, all the way up in between your shoulder blades. We have 3 more breaths on this side. And then gently lift your head and take one arm out and then the other arm out. And now left arm crosses in front first, and then your right arm crosses in front of that. And then again, tuck your chin in, take a few deep breaths. Maybe you shift and move a little bit on your bolster. You're also welcome here, if you want to change this up a little bit, to bend your knees, turning your toes and knees out to the side so you have a little bit more of a frog position with your legs here. So it's a little bit of a combination of that shoulder stretch and your crocodile pose, if you'd like to. Take some deep breaths. And really allow your breath to expand into your low belly and your low back. And now gently work your legs back into center and uncross your arms. And then push back to your hands and knees. And then we'll do one more pose with our bolster here at the front of our mat. So from hands and knees, push your bolster ahead so it's all the way toward the front of your mat. And now cross your left leg over to the right side. And then settle all the way down onto your left hip. So now we're getting into the side of our leg here. Your right leg can extend back behind you if you want, or you can keep your knee bent. Either way. Turn your belly, turn your heart, shift in any way that you need to rest over your bolster. You might pull it closer or move it to a different spot. But then resting over your bolster, take a few deep breaths and adjust in any way you need to. As you take some deep breaths here, just notice for yourself what the sensations are. And if they're intense, then maybe bend one or both knees a little bit more. Or maybe you work your legs a little bit more towards straight because that intensity feels good. Three more big breaths on this side. And now use your hands to support you to rise back up with your torso. Bend both knees to help you come back to that hands and knees place. And now, right leg crosses over to the left side, and then you're sitting all the way down onto your right hip. And then turning your torso towards your bolster and coming down to rest. And again, you can always extend your left leg out long behind you if that feels good, or keep your knee bent, or whatever variation of bent you need to help with the intensity. We have 3 more breaths on this side. And then use your hands for support to press yourself back up to your seat. And this time, as you bend your knees, you're going to stay on your hips and just bring your legs out in front of you. And just for a moment in our staff pose, extend your legs out long. Move your sitting bones. Press your fingertips down beside your hips, lift up through your sides, and take a moment here to tune into whatever's going on. Notice what's present for sensation. Eyes closing if that's comfortable, and take a full breath. Feeling the connection that you have with the ground and the long spine. And then softly open your eyes and bend your right knee, drawing it in toward you. You have your choice. You can have it on the inside or the outside, crossing it to the other side of your left leg. Take a hold of your right knee and hug it in towards your body. Lift your sides, lift your ribs. And then reach around with your left elbow if that feels good, or you can always stay holding on to your knee with your hands. Right fingertips behind you, press down and lift up through your sides. As you exhale, low ribs help you twist. Take a couple big breaths and allow for a little gentleness in your twist. So not necessarily turning as deeply as you ever have in your life, but perhaps just partway into your twist. With that idea that any amount of twist is beneficial. Take some deep, full breaths. Then inhale, come back into center. And now you're going to take your right knee open to the right side with your foot on the inside of your left leg and move your sitting bones. And again, we're going to take this forward fold, but I want you to think of not necessarily going to the deepest place you've ever gone. Go to a gentle place. So inhale, lengthen, lift your heart. Exhale, fold as deeply over your left leg as your body needs for a little bit of a hinge, a little bit of a fold, but also thinking of that gentleness. If you want, you can close your eyes here. If you want, you can always add a prop underneath your right knee for a little support. And with your next 3 breaths, pulse with your breath. Inhale to come out of it a little ways. Exhale to deepen a little bit. Inhaling and exhaling with some pulsations. Then inhale all the way back upright. Extend your right leg out long. Bend your left knee. And again, either inside or outside for your foot, whichever feels the best to you. Hug your knee in towards your body and lengthen first. And then if you want to, you can wrap your elbow around. Left fingertips behind you or beside you to help you lengthen. Exhale, softly use your low ribs to help you twist. Find that gentle place. Full big breath. Inhale, come back into center. And then bringing left foot to the inside of your right leg, opening that knee up. And again, you're welcome to put a prop underneath your knee here if you would like. Move your sitting bones. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale, fold gently. Full big breath wherever that is for you today. Thinking of a little kindness for hamstrings and your low back. Again, utilize those pulses, the pulsations of your breath to help you move a little bit in and out of this pose. Inhale to come out of it a little bit and exhale, maybe deepen a tiny bit. Then inhale, gently rise all the way back up, both footprints to the floor, and then you'll make your way all the way down onto your back. If you know you're going to use your chair for Shavasana, then make sure it's close to you. If you're not going to, then you can keep it far away. That's totally fine. As you come down onto your back, hug knees up close and rock a few times side to side and give yourself the information. Notice what's happening through your low back, through your hips, glutes, hamstrings, whatever's showing up. Then take your knees open wide here and a little rock again. And then a little bit of forward and back movement with your knees. Think of opposite movement. So draw your right knee forward, your left knee back. Then left knee forward, right knee back. And then back into center now. Feet come together, soles of feet together into a butterfly here. You can hold on to your feet with your legs in the air if that feels best, or you can set your legs down. That's okay too. Sometimes this doesn't feel awesome for people. So now as you either hold on to your feet or with your feet on the ground, think of reaching a little further out through your thighs. And with that, again, one knee forward, the other knee back, and then switching. So now you have a little bit of pivot on your sacrum and on your pelvis. Combination here of grounding and allowing a little bit of fluidity. And then gently set both feet on the ground. Hands come to your upper thighs, right up at your hip creases, and give your upper thighs a push. We do this often. It's a really lovely thing to press into your femur bones. Just create that little bit of space through your hip socket. This is a really great grounding thing. So as you take a couple big breaths here with that push, also add some movement through your pelvis. So tilt up and down. Maybe a little side to side tilt. Maybe a little pivot. Two more full breaths. And now you're going to set yourself up in a resting pose that would feel really good. So if that involves your chair and bringing your legs up onto it, you're welcome to do that. You can also do the variation of lifting your legs up on your bolster that we did, I think, last week, of setting blocks underneath your bolster. And then legs over the bolster so that you have a little bit more elevation, or whatever feels the best in your body. And start to find that place for yourself where your whole body can release and let go, where it can ground and your breath can have some natural movement, some natural fluidity. Take just the first few breaths to allow some shifts and some movement. And then give yourself permission to find some stillness. Slowly start to deepen your breath. You can start to add a little movement into fingers and toes. But then staying where you are, take your hands together to rub. Creating a little bit of friction and warmth. And now take one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. And take a couple big breaths as you experience the warmth. And experience your body in whatever position you're in right now. Supported. And for a couple of breaths, think, I'm always safe at the center of my being. And as you notice the flow of your breath, think, I flow with the rhythm of life, open to the goodness around me. And now slowly bend your knees and roll over to your side. Pause for a full breath. And then gently rise back up to a seat. Whatever that looks like, and it can be sitting on your chair again if you would like. Connect hands together at heart center. And take another moment to simply feel and notice what's present for you. Have a beautiful and peaceful day. Namaste.